Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Rock Force. In the last part, technically I completed the game, but fairly recently there was a major update to this title, which added the playable Rock Force members, a new set of Fusion Robot Masters, and a revamped final stage. And of course the story got an expansion, and the ending got changed quite a bit. So now we have the intro, going mostly the same as before, where Mega Man is encountering a nice extended period of peace because Dr. Wily disappeared for some reason. He assembled the Rock Force, and soon enough he sends them out to he asks Dr. Light to create Justice Man. A new picture here, as I don't remember the left half of his face being incomplete and missing his left arm. Though that may be me. Also, Dr. Light's wearing these snazzy glasses. And then, the group of Robot Masters we've seen in the previous parts have risen up. So it's a little slight different change. Here, Crypt Man acts like the de facto leader. And here there's a clarification in the story in the sense that the group of Robot Masters, or at least Crypt Man, tried to negotiate first before going on a rampage. Not rampage, but rebel. So yeah, Crypt Man is the de facto leader of the enemy Robot Masters, well, until Justice Man went insane and took over. And yeah, this adds a nice bit of justification and kind of makes the enemy Robot Master's cause a bit more reasonable. Alright, back to the segment where Mega Man sees the news. And he sends out the Rock Force. And so on and so forth. They get kidnapped and whatnot, and of course we have to go after and save them. Though what makes this a little bit different is that, well, I'll be showing soon enough, is that we have the new members of the Rock Force added. Not new members, but playable members. In the previous parts, or in the previous versions of this game, you were only able to rescue the Rock Force and that's it. They would help you in later parts of the stages, specifically the Fusion Robot Masters and Justice Castle, but you weren't ever able to play with them. Not anymore. Now it's like Mega Man Powered Up, or Super Danny Powered Up, or Day in the Limelight, where you can play as them. Also, there's a slight change to the options menu. Apparently the recovery time default setting has been changed from double or triple to normal. I found it odd in the first place why it was set to double or triple, though that may have been a glitch. As usual, I'll be playing on hard stage difficulty and hard stage boss difficulty. No other changes or options here, so pretty nice. And yeah, playing on no recovery time, or recovery time set to none, is still as brutal as it was before. I'm not that sadistic as to try it. Now, the introduction level of this game is pretty much the same. No difference to the text. The only slight difference happens after you complete the intro stage. So yeah, skipping ahead. A slightly different scene as they added he added a snazzy background. A nice purple-ish background. And this time Justice Man is housed in this sort of capsule. Present day. Alright, now if you look at this Robot Master selection, we have two new options on the bottom. A shop and a team menu. Now you can actually collect bolts, as enemies will drop them, and you can buy stuff like extra lives, E-tanks, W-tanks, the spike boots, as well as a improved energy refiller. Now, in the team menu you started with no one because you haven't rescued, so I decided to jump ahead, defeat Virus Man, and rescue Dive Man. So yeah, for the first few parts of this game, or this part of the LP, about 3, I'll be playing through each stage with the respective member of the Rock Force who's strong against that particular Robot Master. So, beginning with Dive Man. Dive Man can either fire his dive missile, a homing missile, or he can do the dive attack, where he spins forward. Here I'm showing off the homing missile, and here's the dive attack. Another advantage which I don't exactly show here is that if you hit the wall while doing the dive attack, you'll bounce up. And afterwards you have a momentary invulnerability period. So that's pretty nice, especially in segments where you have to jump over these surprise missiles. And he has the same shot limit as Mega Man, so nothing different there. And using the homing attack, or homing torpedo, or the dive attack uses up the weapon energy bar in the top left, so you can't do it infinitely. Now, I noticed it, but playing as a Rock Force member who is strong against the particular Robot Master set, they're usually more optimal for the particular stage. Usually, not always, but I'll be showing that soon enough with Pulse Man. See, like in many of these segments, I could easily just dive attack my way over, and if I hit the spikes, I'll be invulnerable so I can jump out of them. And here, with the batons, I can just use the homing torpedo and easily take care of them without any risk. In fact, in this segment it makes it even more of a cinch, because with the dive attack's invulnerability period, I can just skip over all of this. And get a temporary invulnerability period, so if I get hit by the bombs, I'll have no problems. But it's still kind of annoying. And of course, the homing torpedo can actually hit that eagle, dropping skull bombs. And yeah, in these segments I could have just used the dive, like here for example. I'm invulnerable, and that shot passed right through me. Of course, Dive Man isn't his strongest here. When I go to a Fishman stage, aka Justice Castle 1 later on, with Dive Man, I'll show you his true power. Long story short, Dive Man becomes much stronger when he's in water. Which is obvious considering his original area was under the sea, or the ocean. And it hasn't changed from before, but wait until the Cerberus completely disappears, otherwise you get hurt by his finishing explosions. But yeah, if I had more W tanks, which is a new addition to this game, I could have just spammed this more and then skipped through many parts of the stage while refilling my weapon energy if necessary. Though, as expected, W tanks seem to be more uncommon compared to E tanks in this game, or this version. And this is exacerbated by the hard mode difficulty, which decreases the number of bolts, life, weapon energy pickups, and extra lives that you get. Like, if I was playing on easy or medium difficulty, I would be getting a lot more large bolt drops, but here, not so much. But I do like the addition of the shop, which I'll be showing off after I finish the first set of Robot Masters, as it makes you can basically grind your way and make the game easier, instead of getting stuck in completing an earlier stage and not having enough E or W tanks. As, remember, you can't repeat stages that you already completed. So, if you want to, you can grind up the bolts. Or turn down the difficulty setting, grind bolts, turn it back up, and continue. But yeah, using it makes this segment much simpler. And the Dive Man's walking speed is about average, the same as Mega Man, though his jumping height seems a little bit lower. That may just be me. Alright, we're near Crypt Man, and at this point I realized I overused my weapon energy, so the fight against him went a bit sloppily. Now, as a note, Crypt Man is not weak against Dive Man's normal missiles, he's weak against Dive Man's homing torpedoes, so make sure to have some weapon energy left over for that. But of course, this boss battle went very sloppily. So many mistakes. It's kind of embarrassing. But of course, this took so many retakes in the first time because of other problems that I decided to just go through with this take. Thankfully though, the homing torpedo doesn't take that much weapon energy to use. And that's it. Whenever you defeat a enemy Robot Master with one of the members of the Rock Force, after beating the stage they'll teleport out, and Mega Man will teleport in to grab the particular defeated Robot Master's weapon. and then you'll control Mega Man, and then you'll rescue the particular member of the Rock Force. In this case, Nightman. And we get their weapon, and if we did a perfect boss fight, taking no damage with the member of the Rock Force, we'll get the perfect beat part letter. So now I'll continue on with the weakness chain by going with Nightman. Note that the Robot Master weakness order is different compared to the Rock Force weakness order, so keep that in mind. It changes up difficulty. So in this case, it's time to continue on with Nightman and go after Charade Man. And Charade Man had a nice update to his posters. For one, he can now have many different pictures of himself on the stage select screen. And one of the things is that he can act quite silly on the intro, like where he falls to his death afterwards. And now the music of the stage has been remixed to a nice jazzy tune. And we start up with Break a Leg instead of Ready. Alright, playing as Nightman is a little bit different. Nightman is, well, he's my least favorite character out of this run. Nightman controls his mace either forward by just choosing the fire button, or he can fire it in an upward arc, curved arc, by using the up plus attack button. And of course, he can also block normal pellet shots if it goes in front of his shield. The problem is that once Nightman throws his mace, he can't shield himself because he's trying to grab his mace back. The problem comes along is that it can take quite a while for Nightman's mace to come back, and he's vulnerable in that period. If you can learn how to... The thing is though, if you can learn how to arc his mace, it's pretty nice, as after you shoot the mace and it travels straight ahead or in a curved upward arc towards whatever the target is, it'll start traveling back to wherever Nightman currently is after it makes the turn back, so it can really make some interesting arced shots and take care of a lot of enemies at once. But because Nightman has an average height and relatively slow walking speed, it can be kind of problematic trying to take care of these enemies, considering that his mace doesn't actually pierce enemy shields. And also, when he throws his mace, Nightman cannot slide, which becomes a problem in tight corners. Like here, for example, where I couldn't have my shield up, so I couldn't really defend. And of course, he can only have one Night Crush out at once on screen, so he can be quite vulnerable if he gets ambushed by a lot of enemies. And of course, taking small enemies out like this on ceilings is kind of difficult. Like here, for example, I don't want to get hit by the enemy, so I have to carefully shoot it. And the precision of getting a shot block is a little bit too precise for my likes, as if it's just a little bit off, you'll take damage. I can't tell you how many times I died in these segments because I took too much damage. Also, on hard mode, the spikes that would be here that would be instant death or half damage in the current setting have been replaced by these up-down moving enemies, which don't do instant death. They do a fair bit of damage, but they're much more fair compared to other things. And now, time to fight Charade Man the first time without cheesing him using the Phantom Fuse. And yeah, this is where problems start to come along. Though, if you can time your shots well enough and you stay far enough, the Night Crush mace can actually hit him multiple times and quickly make a minced meat out of him. But going back to what I was saying, the main thing with the Nightman is that you have to learn how to use his mace correctly and time your shots. Otherwise, you'll get stuck either with a ton of enemies without your shield up, or you'll get stuck without being able to slide. That's why he's kind of situational in a way, and that's why he's my least favorite character in this update. Just take it slow, and you'll make it, hopefully. If he had the ability to throw one extra mace, or the ability to slide or throw up his shield, regardless of when he threw his mace, I would find him a much more fun playable character. Going back to what I was talking about the spikes, I do like the addition of changing the instant death spikes to those up and down moving orbs. I'll just call them orbs, vertical moving orbs specifically. By doing it, it makes it much more fair considering how much precision is needed and makes it much less sadistic. So yeah, I do like that change. Though, and of course you can actually have your shots ricochet or bounce right off of them, so that introduces some interesting capabilities, which I will show off in Circuit Man stage in the next part. And yeah, this is one of the places where having multiple projectiles would be much easier. But don't worry, after this part I'll be going to my more favorite Rock Force members. As Diveman and, well, Nightman are kind of my least favorite. Mainly because of their kind of situational awareness, their situational specificness. Though Diveman becomes much more of a powerhouse in Fishman stage, which I will show off, don't worry. Whereas Diveman was a little bit faster and had more versatility in hitting enemies away from him, and had three projectiles at most, like Mega Man, as well as more mobility thanks to his dive attack. Nightman is, well, much more a slower character, and more armored, and more but careful positioning. Now, if he took less damage as well from enemy attacks, like maybe 25 or 50% less, he would also be I would feel a better character. But right now, I would avoid using him unless you're trying to fight one of his weaknesses. Like, for instance, Charade Man, Death Man, and 2 other bosses which I'll get to. Terror Man, I believe, and one of the new Fusion Robot Masters. Alright, here's Charade Man again. As the Night Crush is his weakness, it makes it much easier, but even then it's kinda difficult. Because I can't really block those shots unless I have my shield up, and I won't have my shield up if I'm throwing my mace. But I make very short work of him, and didn't need to waste an E-tank. But still, very hard to perfect run him, even with his weakness. As those blue orbs, I don't think you can destroy that simply. And we rescue Tornado Man, who I'll be showing off in Circuit Man stage in the next part. So Nightman is situational, so I wouldn't suggest taking him out unless you are going after one of his where he's strong against them. Even then, you have to be careful and learn how to arc his Night Crush. Alrighty then, we have defeated both Crypt Man and Charade Man with the 2 Rock Force members, and in the next part we'll continue on with Circuit Man using Tornado Man. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day! Doodles!